Welcome in upstate. It's college football time here in Clemson as we are having CSN live from Lakeside Lodge. A little bit of drizzle out here, but Joe, we're professionals, right? Joe Bostic, my co-host, and I'm sure you played in a lot worse weather than this, but we'll get through it here.
This is fat guys weather right here. I love this.
Does this get you ready to go do a bunch of fullback dives to some of the great fullbacks that you had in the late 70s, which includes Marvin Sims and a few of them?
The late, great Tracy Perry. Yeah, had some great fullbacks, and this was the time of year where us fat guys would, you play those first few games, it's 90 degrees, and, you're huffing and puffing, and you're getting tired. Weather breaks, daylight savings time flakes out, and then it gets cool and you can play a whole game and you very rarely get really tired.
I mean, so again, beautiful night here at Lakeside Lodge, and listen, we're going to have a lot of fun here, and of course we will relocate when we were done up to the bar restaurant area. We have Louis Saggety, who's going to be performing acoustic tunes for us, and of course they've got Traditions on the Lake, and then tomorrow they do a tailgating thing where you can come here and set up and then go over, but that will be done inside due to Delta. Who got drunk this year in 2020? First of all, 2020 is a drunk year to begin with, but have you seen the names of these hurricanes this year? I mean, they're bizarre. I have a fraternity brother from Alabama in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that is getting hit for the second time in 6 weeks directly by a Category 2 hurricane. This isn't that bad, Joe.
No, this is, especially in 2020, this has been one strange year. So, hope we can pick up a national championship, but I'll be glad for 2020 to be over with.
There'd be nothing strange about that, having already won 3 and then, of course, 2 in the last 5 years. But, Joe, my fear is in life is what if 2021 shows up on January 1st and goes, hey, hold my beer. You know what I mean? If you, hey man, watch this. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. But we're going to get you ready for kickoff here tomorrow night in the Valley at 7:30. It's number 7 Miami Hurricanes at the number 1 Clemson Tigers. Miami comes in 3-0, and Joe, before we look too much into that, I think we got to look back to last week. And one of the things I've always taken away from the coaches in my life is every once in a while you got to win games when you don't play your best. I think that was part of the case last week against Virginia last Saturday night. I also think people aren't giving Virginia enough credit for what they did. That sophomore quarterback, Brandon Robinson, can play for me any day, but I love the attitude that Bronco Mendenhall brought in here. They went for it on 4th down. They didn't leave anything left out on the field, even though they were the undermanned squad Saturday night.
We talked about this last week, that we hope that when we did not play our A game, that we would be against a team that we could handle without our A game. And I think that's exactly what happened. I think Virginia is such a good warm-up for Miami. Armstrong, the quarterback, reminded me a lot of Derek King. Little shorter guy, pretty nifty little guy, good runner, good passer. He made some plays. Brent Venables, very rarely will you see 2 subpar performances by Clemson's defense under Brent Venables. And it's going to be a real, I think it's going to be a crackerjack of a game by Clemson this week, and I think he's going to come out there. His players are going to be ready to play and perform.
Listen, I've always been taught by coaches the most ideal time to teach somebody is after a loss, but when you really if you can get an 18-point win, have people, and some in the Clemson fan base, this isn't good enough. I remember your last season at Clemson, a 41-23 score against South Carolina in Death Valley felt like a blowout that day.
It was a blowout, but yeah, the same exact score. But their expectations are a good thing, and sometimes they're a bad thing. And I love that Clemson, the expectations, as Dabo's always said, best is our standard, and that's what we all strive to be the very best. And I don't think Dabo or his coaching staff or the players really take it as a slap in the face that, you know, you didn't play your best game last week. But that's all right. 18, 20, 22-year-old kids, you know, and even us as adults, you're not always on the top of your game every day. So, like I said, if we can play games and continue to win when we don't have our A game, theoretically, then that really bodes well for the kind of talent this team has and the kind of fortitude. This is a tough team. And when they had to make plays, they made plays. And I was impressed with our guys last week. It wasn't the best game I've ever seen, but it's another win, and it puts us in a good situation playing Miami. And I'm really looking forward to this game. This is the kind of game that really, the players come to Clemson to play. This kind of game. And I'm looking for some really big stuff out of our guys tomorrow.
Well, again, 7:30 there in the Valley, but you know it's a big game. In the next segment, I caught up with Andrea Adelson from ESPN earlier this week, and we talked about, you know, this may be the biggest game in 5 years, if not going back to the Clemson-Florida State ACC game in 2013, which we don't want to talk about that one, but also game day is going to be here, and here are a couple of stats when it comes to game day. This is the first appearance for that crew in Clemson since 2016 in the Louisville game. But Joe, sometimes it's fun to know the answer when you don't, but be able to ask the question. How many times do you think in the past 5 years Clemson has appeared on a game day broadcast?
Quite a few on the road.
17 since 2015. That's more than any other program in this country right now.
Well, it's about time they came back to Death Valley and put the show up here. And you know, that Louisville game that was played with Lamar Jackson, those two teams, the Lamar Jackson-led Louisville team and this Miami team with De'Aaron King, they surely remind me a lot of each other. There's a lot of similarities. Great quarterback, running quarterback, probably a better runner than a thrower. Now, Lamar Jackson, to me, has gotten to be a much better thrower as he's progressed in professional football. But back then, I think he was far greater as a running back or running quarterback than he was a quarterback throwing quarterback. So I see a lot of similarities between those two games, and I look for that type of game and that much excitement.
It should be close. I do not expect a blowout, but real quickly before we head out to Cindy Green Isaacs and find out things with Lakeside Lodge, also coming up on the show, as I mentioned, when we come back, I've done a quick interview with Andrea Adelson from ESPN.com. Then we're going to be joined here by Big Dave Uiagalelei. That is from what I got. We're going to give him the opportunity to set us straight, because that's a last name that everybody is a Clemson fan, but DJ's father, Big Dave's going to join us in the second segment. Then your former teammate, Jim Stuckey. And Joe, I'm so mad at you right now. We don't look near as debonair as the two-time Super Bowl champion Jim Stuckey does tonight.
Yeah, Jim Stuckey, a great human being, a great teammate. It was a real honor to play with him here at Clemson. I played against him some when he was with the 49ers, and I still got a little beef with him and Jeff both for all the Super Bowls they got to play in. And poor old Joe over here I get to sit up in the stands and watch him play. So
Cardinals organization, but I don't know.
But he, wonderful man, great teammate, a great friend, and I think the people out there will really be in for a treat with old Jim Stuckey. He's a very interesting man and great football player.
Absolutely. So looking forward to tonight's show. And again, make sure you go check out the Clemson website. Zach did a fantastic article just the other day on Big Dave, and you can go see that at ClemsonSportsNews.com. But the best and the brightest and definitely the best looking of the three of us here on CSN Live, it's our good friend Cindy Green Isaacs. And Cindy, what's going on with Lakeside Lodge?
Hey. I know that Joe and Mark, I think every Friday we talk about how fortunate we are to be here at Lakeside Lodge in this beautiful resort, Clemson's one and only. And for the last couple of Friday nights, it's been a packed house at the fire pit, the pool, the bar. And I have here with me Ashley Phillips. She is from Asheville, North Carolina originally, and she moved to Greenville. But she is the property manager of Lakeside Lodge, and she has some interesting roles to do with the Lakeside Lodge. So tell us a little bit about your responsibilities.
Absolutely. So I have been with the development team since the very beginning. So I met all of our owners the moment they purchased. So it made sense that once this building was complete, I stepped over and joined the management group and took over as the property manager. I work with all of those amazing owners that we have that decided to purchase here. And just make their time here the best it can be. Plan any kind of COA events for them. Make sure that all of our owners are getting the most out of Lakeside Lodge that they possibly can.
Oh, how wonderful. And what percentage of the condos still remain to be sold, and what are their price ranges?
So we do still have quite a few units available. We have studios, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. Our 2 bedrooms start in the mid to high 200s. Our 3 bedrooms are about $750, and our 2 bedrooms are about $500. They have a really great, one of the great things about this is that all of them are fully furnished. They come with every kitchen utensil you could possibly imagine. You will never have to worry once you come to Clemson. This is the hassle-free way to own property in Clemson. It's the easiest way you can do it.
And it's a great concept. Let me ask you, you do have a condo rental program for the owners. Tell me, explain that a bit.
So all of our units here are individually owned. So if you decide to come and stay at our hotel, you are actually staying inside someone's unit. We are a property management vacation rental that works like a hotel. So no matter where you're staying on our property, you are staying in someone's unit and someone else is profiting when you come to stay. It's an easy way to own property, but also have a good return on your investment as well.
Well, Ashley, I appreciate you coming out here on this rainy Friday night, staying late at work. Guys, Clemson has 3 more home games, so call now if you want to book your stay right here at Clemson's only resort, Lakeside Lodge.
Here we go.
All right, welcome into CSN Live. It's our weekly interview via Zoom when it decides it wants to work. And this week I'm joined by a very good friend, Andrea Adelson of ESPN.com, covers the ACC, really has become a dear friend. But Andrea, they're talking about Miami at Clemson this Saturday night, game day. This may very well be the biggest ACC game in 5 years. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, it's absolutely a big game anytime you can get game day to come around. But the big question, of course, is whether Miami is deserving of all of this hype that's going into the game, right? Obviously, they've had a great start to the season, but we don't quite know yet whether this team truly has turned a corner, whether they are back, so to speak. And the last couple of times they've played Clemson, it just hasn't worked out well for Miami. And one of those times was 2017 when everybody thought Miami had turned a corner. They were a 10-win team that season, and they just weren't even close to Clemson in the ACC championship game. I think Miami is better, but this is certainly going to be a true test for the Hurricanes. I think it's going to be a good test for Clemson as well, especially after what we saw last week in that performance against Virginia. Miami is a better team, I think, than Virginia. So this will continue to, I think, help Clemson as it moves through the course of the season and tries to improve in specific areas if it wants to win another national championship.
Now, Andrea, you mentioned last week's game, an 18-point win, 41-23, but, Clemson managed to win despite their most precise play, if you will. But I went back and watched the game Tuesday night, and I don't think people are giving quite enough credit to Virginia, the left-handed quarterback in Robinson, in the fact that they came in and left nothing else to go. They went for it on fourth down. They were creative. Hey, Clemson got a nice punch in the mouth, but it wasn't all bad play on the Tigers' part. I think a lot of it had to do with Virginia was more improved since last December.
Well, it's interesting. Anytime Clemson plays a close, and I'm going to use the air quotes on that, game in the ACC, it's always Clemson's fault. Nobody wants to give credit to the ACC team just because of the reputation the ACC has had over the last several years of Clemson and everybody else. And so if there is a team that plays them close, oh my gosh, what's happening at Clemson? Why aren't they blowing everybody out? They were a huge favorite and they didn't win by the amount they were supposed to win by. So you're right. I don't think Virginia's been given enough credit, specifically on offense. They had a terrific game plan, I thought. And even though they lost the best player from a year ago, this is a team that hasn't really seemed to have taken a step backwards. In fact, they were closer with Clemson in this game. And defensively, this has been a strong team. I think they will continue to be a strong defensive team. And they just took some plays away from Clemson, maybe that they're used to making. And once that starts happening and there is some frustration that sets in, you're not really completely on your game. We saw that last year against North Carolina in a far closer game. I think we saw a little bit of that again last week against Virginia.
All right. One of the things I admire about you, and you've taught me over the years, and especially since I had my stroke, was give a little bit more than it's expected of you. And you and the professor, as I like to call him, your husband, Eric Adelson, used to work for Yahoo Sports, now teaches college in the Orlando area. I mean, y'all have a Amazon Smile wish list, which is to help out furloughed Disney workers right now. How can people, you said you woke up your door one morning about 10 days ago, and there are 8 boxes of Huggies and stuff out there. People don't realize how bad the travel industry, the entertainment industry in Central Florida has been hit. I mean, we're part of that when it comes to sports, but how can people help y'all make a difference for these Disney employees?
Well, I really appreciate you mentioning that, Sturge. Eric, my husband, is on the board of the National Diaper Bank, and this has been a passion of his for the last several years because one of the things folks take for granted is being able to buy diapers for their kids, right? That's just an automatic. You have a baby, go get the diapers, but diapers are really expensive, and there are a lot of families that have a hard time affording them. And especially in this time when so many of our fellow community members are struggling. They've been laid off. They've been furloughed at Disney, at Universal, at the theme parks, the hotels. We just want to give a little bit back to our community. We've got an 11% unemployment rate right now in Central Florida. And so the least we feel like we can do is try and reach out and help others. So every Saturday, Eric goes and makes a diaper delivery. And within 10 minutes, all those diapers have already been handed out. So yes, he's got an Amazon Smile wish list. If you go to his Twitter feed, just look for Eric Adelson. He's got it pinned right at the top for anybody who is able and willing to contribute. A box of wipes, I think, is less than $10 or maybe somewhere around that range. There's some diapers you could buy for that much as well. So we just know that we are blessed and we want to try and extend some blessings to other families who are in need right now.
Well, listen, I've always been blessed to know you, and we're going to make a donation on behalf of Clemson Sports News. But more importantly to me, if something gets back to normal before the end of the year and you're up here to cover a game, we want you to join us live on location here at Lakeside Lodge for the show on Friday night.
Well, I'd be the first one to sign up whenever that day comes, Sturge. I always love getting together in person. Appreciate the friendship we've developed over the years. And thank you so much for always being so good to us. It means a lot.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Hey, listen. races from Emerald Island, California to Clemson and back.
Yeah, not sure, but just honored and thankful to be able to come and see my son. It's something that we worked hard all together as a family. And
Well, you know, you said that a lot of us look at DJ almost as a freak of nature.
Yes.
I'm not seeing a guy with that type of cannon, and I've already said, you heard a different football when Trevor throws it. There's a little kind of sound to it.
Yeah.
You even get a bigger missile sound when you hear DJ, and you look at his size. But the one thing in the article on Clemson Sports News this week that Zach Wagner did with you was, you said you've known all along that DJ would be a quarterback.
yeah, since he was 2 years old, we've always played catch, and just the way he threw the ball, I kind of saw the little mechanics that he had. And when he was third grade, we had Pop Warner, and he grew up in a city called Upland, California. And Pop Warner, he played at 9 years old. He played at the Pee Wee level. Pee Wee usually have 6th and 7th graders on that team, and DJ at the time was a 3rd grader. So I have it's a YouTube, it's up, you know, and it's pretty cool. At that time when I saw it, I kind of knew that DJ would have the ability to be able to do something special, you know, be a real good quarterback at that age when I saw him at 3rd grade.
Now, you say that his physical skills on the football field are not his best attributes. It's actually two things that you've been more impressed with, how DJ handles himself off the field. Do you mind commenting?
Yes, that's my favorite thing about DJ is that he is the type of kid that in any situation that he steps into, he's willing to stand in line like everybody else. Regardless of the #1 ranking and all of the stuff that everyone else make him out to be, DJ wants everyone to know at the end of the day, he still has to get on the field and perform. So his thing is, I don't want to hear it. He shuts his ears, stay focused on what the task is on his career or whatever he is, like the high school or Clemson. Whatever I can do to be the best teammate I can be to help my team. That's DJ to the T, who he is. And that's the part I love the most.
As some of you know, my son worked at the football facility over there, you know, working and doing whatever.
Yeah.
And I came through there, my wife and I came down one day, and your son happened to be in the lobby.
Yes, sir.
And I knew who he was. I mean, I was 99% sure who he was.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, DJ, I'm Joe Bostic. It's good to meet you. And I'll tell you what, you could not have been more proud of your son if you'd have been standing right behind me.
Yes.
Your son was nothing but a perfect gentleman.
Yes, sir.
He was not a prima donna.
Not at all.
He's just a really, really nice kid. And and my wife and I walked out and said, that guy, that's a really nice young man.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you so much.
His mother and you have done a phenomenal job raising that young man, and he is a real credit, and he will be a real credit for Clemson. And I look forward to him as the year goes down. I mean, he's going to do some good stuff, and he's just learning.
Yeah.
He's just peeling that onion back. He's on the first layer right now, and I think he's going to go right down as Deshaun and Trevor, another great Clemson quarterback.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned not a prima donna. This is a story, again, you can find this in Zach's article at ClemsonSportsNews.com, but this is something that should excite Clemson fans moving forward. Prior to DJ Uiagalelei's senior season out in California, they did not perform well in a 7-on-7 camp. Matter of fact, lost a couple of games.
Yeah.
He was supposed to go off following that to the Elite 11 quarterback camp and goes, it's more important for me to be here practicing with my football team than being in an Elite 11 quarterback camp. And you know what? Teammates notice that kind of thing in the locker room.
Well, yeah, he came to me and asked me what he should do. And I said, what do you think he should do? He said to him, what mean more than the individual accolade is all he wanted was to win this for his teammates. So he said that I'd rather stay and not miss a week of practice than going to the elite of the elite, the elite 11. That's the where you,
pinnacle.
yeah, that's Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. All these guys went to this to showcase their ability and to be able to represent who they are as an individual. So DJ gave all of that up. I know Nike wasn't happy with that, but they couldn't say anything when DJ explained why. I mean, that's, to me, the best characteristics of who DJ is. He gives everything up of himself to be able to show that I want to represent a team, because he understands it's about a team. It's not about him.
And you said that you knew after his first visit to Clemson, it was over. This is where he wanted to be.
It was because, you know, he's already expressed it at the freshman meeting. It was the fact that Dabo Swinney was open with his faith. Every coach in the country, I mean, if you're DJ, #1 quarterback in the country, why would you come to Clemson and sit behind someone? Then you can go to LSU or any one of these colleges and start. But for DJ, it wasn't about starting. It was more about developing. It was more about following, coming to a place where he can get challenged. And the fact that Dabo talked about, you're not just coming here to be a great football player, but you're coming here to learn how to be a great father, a great husband, you know, a great mentor. And to DJ, that's what meant more to him than anything else.
Well, that's next level. And again, thank you. And listen, look forward to speaking with you some more. But when we're done here, we're going to go watch the Lakers up
Yes,
here
sir.
in the bar
Go Lakers,
area
come on.
and enjoy some live acoustic music
Yes.
up there and find out more about what this Clemson family is all about,
Yes,
which
sir.
includes, Joe, BYOG gear. You know, that is the clothing line for the All In Foundation for Dabo Swinney. And as a business owner, you got to love the name Trademark Pending when it comes to some of what they have created with BYOG. Cindy Green Isaacs, give us some more.
Hi there, guys. I am here with one of our interns who is in front of the camera now instead of behind the scenes, Darby, who is wearing one of the Allmar, what do you call this?
It's the crew neck.
It's the crew neck shirt, yes. We have Allmar that is made, products that are made in the USA, and they are, like he said, part of the BYOG gear. That gear gets part of the proceeds for the All In Foundation for Dabo. And tell me a little bit about what you're wearing.
Well, it comes with a built-in mask, so you no longer have to worry about leaving your mask at home when you go out and you're like, oh no, I can't get in with my mask. It's really, really comfortable. It's chilly, it's raining out here, and I'm keeping warm, which is a big deal to me.
Yes, and tell us a little bit, can you, if you please, tell us a little bit about the fundraising that can happen with this gear.
So Allison, the creator of the Allmar, works with fraternities, sororities, and teams to customize the Allmar, and groups have an opportunity to fundraise and receive $5 for each of the Allmar products sold.
And actually, to get $5 back return on a fundraiser is a pretty good deal. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Allison is part owner of the Allmar company, and she's also a Clemson gal. So come on and find her gear on Clemson Sports News and get your sweatshirts.
Jim Stuckey, one of your teammates, is joining us here live on location at Lakeside Lodge. And Jim was he's a former Clemson defensive, he's a Clemson great. You're never former, in my opinion. From 1976 to 1979 here at Clemson, from Columbia Airport High School. He was a first-round pick, number 20 for San Francisco in 1980. Went on to win 2 Super Bowls there with the 49ers. And, you know, Joe, I just think back that here we are in 2020, and the last time I really saw you, as I mentioned to you, was at the Terrace Garden Inn in Buckhead in Atlanta, where y'all stayed for the Peach Bowl. You had the best hair then, and quite frankly, you may still have the best hair now.
You know what? This is called Arctic Blonde. Arctic Blonde. It's not gray. It's Arctic Blonde.
So let's talk a little bit about your career with San Francisco, because you actually had a really interesting time in which you guys won 2 Super Bowls, but you got to do it with a couple of former college teammates, one in Dwight Clark, another in Archie Reese.
Yes.
You know, everybody remembers the catch, which was Joe Montana to Dwight Clark to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Very few people remember with 1 minute left on the clock after the catch, or maybe a little bit less than that.
33 seconds.
33 seconds. Jim Stuckey recovers the fumble that seals the win over the Cowboys and Danny White.
Correct. It was a wonderful experience back then, and it was probably the most exciting game that I've ever played in. And we won 28-27, and we were able to go to our very first Super Bowl. 49ers ended up winning 5, the decade of the 80s through 90. And we were a bunch of young kids back then, and it was an incredible experience. And what I do remember is, as Ronnie Lott told me one time, he said, we all came from great college programs. I mean, great college programs. We were young. We had a young third-year guy named Joe Montana, just broken into the starting quarterback position that year. But everybody forgot to tell us that we weren't supposed to be good. And nobody was used to losing. None of us were used to losing. And Bill Walsh created this West Coast offense, and it took 10 years for people to figure it out, which was a dink and dunk and precise passing routes that were short and everything. It almost replaced the running game. But it was the end of Dallas, their long tenure with them and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it was the beginning of a new with us and playing against my buddy here, Joe, out there in that hot field in St. Louis. Oh my God, that AstroTurf.
No, that's what we call thin carpet on asphalt. That was not AstroTurf.
So we went out there. Otis Anderson was the running back then, and we went out. We're playing early in the year, and we go out to St. Louis, and I look. They've got those big thermometers on the field and everything. It was 121 degrees. I said, oh my, you know, and we come in, everybody's kind of laid back at 68 degrees in San Francisco. We're not used to it. I'm used to it in Charleston, South Carolina now, but I was not used to it back then.
I never got used to it.
Now, Joe, you know, you were 1 year ahead of Jim back in college, but I would suspect that your time on the offensive line, you probably butted heads against Mr. Stuckey there and out there in the practice field.
Oh, we many times. And, you know, Jim, just a tough competitor. And as a defensive lineman, one of the hardest guys to knock off his feet. He was just a really good athlete, very agile and, you know, very nimble. And, you know, and you could cut him. And, I mean, he just had an ability to keep his hands on you and shuffle around and get moving. Made some big plays against Ohio State, either on a two-point conversion or something. But he made a lot of big plays. And I'm telling you what, you know, I'm sure that his toughest practice days were at Clemson. I can't imagine the 49ers having practices like that. But, I mean, we worked like dogs. You know, it was just a great honor to be part of, you know, turning around Clemson football. 1977, we hadn't been to a bowl game in 18 years. And it's guys like Jimmy Stuckey and a whole host of other guys that believed in themselves, and we all bought into what Charlie Pell was selling, and we worked like dogs, and we got a lot better, and it was a lot of fun.
Again, we are joined live here at Lakeside Lodge with the former Clemson defensive lineman Jim Stuckey, Joe Bostic. But You know, Jim, I ask all of our guests that come on every week, you know, how did your experience at Clemson lead you to not only future success in the NFL, but in all honesty, future success off the gridiron as well in your second professional life?
You know what? I can tell you that it comes easy. And Red Parker recruited all of us, and you got to go way back. There might be still some people living who might remember Red Parker. But then Charlie Pell came in, and him and Danny Ford came in from Virginia Tech. And Charlie Pell taught us how to win, how the perseverance, the dedication to hard work, repetition, and teamwork. It's all about team. And Danny, Coach Ford, who was the offensive line coach, they're both disciples of Coach Paul Bear Bryant at Alabama. And there was no substitute for hard work. We would kill each other. This guy right here is arguably, still considered the best offensive lineman ever to come out of not only Clemson, but the state of South Carolina. So I'd have to hit this son of a buck every damn day. And I mean, it's a chore. It's a chore. I roomed with his brother, Jeff Bostic, who had a great long 14-year career with the Redskins, and Jeff and I lived together for 2 years. But it taught us how to work and your work ethic. It's just what Dabo's doing now with these guys. You get high character guys. You can mold a guy into a football player. He said, stop. I go after high character people, and I can make their bodies do other things.
Yeah, before we head out to Cindy Green Isaacs with our next guest, I was talking with Brian Breese's parents up in the restaurant earlier tonight, and I just said, you know, one of the great things is what you mentioned, character kids.
Yeah.
These kids, these players, these even sophomores and juniors, they're policing the locker room. That gives the coaching staff so much more freedom to deal with issues in 2020 that
Yes.
we don't know what may arise from week to week.
Oh, I know. Go ahead, Joe, if you love.
Yeah, we got, you know, Big Dave and Brian Breese's parents are here, and those two kids were first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You know, you get whatever magazine you want to get out, what number recruit they were. You know, and I've met both of these kids, humble, down to earth, hard working, you know, wanting to get better. You know, Brian, I remember I met him somewhere, and he was asking me questions about my career. Like, man, dude, mine's so long ago it doesn't even matter. But, you know, it's interested in getting better. And that's the kind of kids we're getting. And those kids will play, you know, obviously great players, but great human beings. And also, I think, I don't know if this is true, I don't know if anybody's done any research, but I think the world record for Super Bowl rings by college roommates have to be Jeff and Jim. Five Super Bowl
rings.
5 rings.
Ready.
So other than maybe if Bill Belichick had a roommate.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's too boring. He's too boring to have a roommate.
With 6 or 8 rings and the other guy having none.
Hey, it's not fair. They earned it though, Joe.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
No doubt about
great
it.
careers and great people.
Absolutely. And of course, when we come back, we're going to catch up with some thoughts on the Miami-Clemson game this tomorrow night, right across the lake here in Death Valley. Also, some other notes from college football this past week that I jotted down. And then, of course, in the final segment, we'll have a guest picker. But I know Cindy is with somebody I've worked very closely with here over the last 6 weeks, Clifton Kennedy, that quite frankly, a lot of my interviews via Zoom and all, Joe, would not be getting up on the air without Clifton and Cliff and all the people that are working so hard with us here at CSN Live. Cindy.
Hey there. All right. Clemson Sports News website is designed by Winning Edge Digital. This web design company is for athletes that are looking to move into from college to pro sports. And not only do they need to promote themselves, but they're also needing to start that branded merchandise for their top favorite fans. I'm here with Clifton Kennedy, who is the owner of the company, and he has over 15 years experience. Some of his top promos right now are none other than Clemson's Travis Etienne and ran for Heisman, and also Trevor Lawrence for Heisman. So I tell you what, tell us a little bit about your company and what you do.
So again, my name is Clifton Kennedy, and I'm an owner, and I have been doing websites, again, like Cindy said, for 15 years, and I just wanted to marry my love of sports and web development. And I was sitting in my house one day, and I was just having fun building a website for Travis Etienne, and threw it up on Facebook. First couple days it got, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 hits, and then about 2 or 3 days later I got a call from, or a Facebook message from Gary, which is the owner of Clemson Sports News, and just out of the blue. And then what you see now with his website is what we came up with, me and Gary. And I'm also working with a football quarterback trainer. His name's Ramon Robinson, and I'm actually doing his website. We're actually supposed to be launching that soon. And I'm mostly working with right now middle school and high school athletes, and trying to help them get one website where we can put all their stats and videos, just anything they want to put on there, and that way they can send it to any coach they want to, and the coach doesn't have to go to 2 or 3 websites to see everything they want. We're putting it all in one spot. Gary actually hooked me up with Ramon, so it's crazy. You know, God hooks you up with one person, and you know, your whole life changes. And this is how my company came about.
Now, you not only do
Yeah, I actually do. I do a lot of different sports stuff. So I have a lot of different
We just lost audio.
other different.
The range has got us.
I've done a website, and
We just lost audio.
stuff. So
Nope, the TV's off too. So it's out.
I think we have some technical difficulties, so we are going to throw it back to Mark and Joe on stage.
Might be a second here. We getting hooked back up on the generator out here with Mother Nature tonight. You know what I mean? And
Weatherman has not down there in Walker.
but when we have greatness surrounded with us, we will figure it out. But again, Gary's back there.